Straight talk from Israel. You're listening to Israel News Talk Radio.
Hi everyone, this is Orly Benny Davis and this is from Jerusalem with Love. Today is September 19, 2020 and we are here holding short here for the new Jewish year at Israel, the Holy Land, the only Holy Land in the whole world. Recognize the incredible Abraham agreement that ushered the new year. It's going to be a year of peace, and we are really grateful for the peace between United Arab Emirates and the state of Bahrain. This is an incredible time that we all live in, and this gives us the opportunity to see through who a great leader is, because since Mr. Donald Trump is the great man of the time, a man that through all this adversity and through all these challenges made a difference and called upon the leadership of Israel and Bahrain and the United Arab Emirates to come together before the world to sign a new agreement to usher a new age in the Middle East. It's a sign of hope. It's through all this crisis of the corona and the overwhelming burden of the crashed economy, only a man that walk with God these days can see through this situation. This is why I wanted to recognize the leadership of President Donald Trump, leader of the free world that can challenge everybody and can change the hearts and mind of incredible leaders and against all adversity and bring them to the table together. You know, there is no man like him, and that's why God gave us and blessed us with the leader like him. People already recognize him and want him to win the Nobel Prize, and we all for that, because only history will have the incredible story to tell about this man that left everything, all the luxury and all the comfort of his house, and took a page of his life and made a difference in our world. So we thank him, and we want to welcome all of you all around and bring together the new year, the new Jewish year that will open a new day. So stay put, and we'll be back after this.
Israel is located in one of the most volatile areas in the world. Israel is an island of stability in a sea of war and unrest. In the midst of this turmoil, Israel stands out as a beacon of order and human progress. Each week we update you on what's happening in this, the Jewish state, a true light unto the nations. This is Jay Shapiro. Join me every Thursday on Israel News Talk Radio.
And we are back. It's Orly Benny Davis, and this is from Jerusalem with Love. I want to welcome all our friends from all around the globe, from United States, from Israel, from Canada, United Kingdom, Italia. Hello, Gabriela. Finland, Australia, Slovakia, and Germany. Welcome to the show. This is an amazing time in the state of Israel. We're all so excited. You know, while we have a peace agreement signed in Washington, D.C., we had also Grad rockets bombarded the city of Ashdod, a little city that is by the sea and close to Gaza. The Palestinians decided that they want to make a statement while the world is watching DC. Well, let's take it for a second and ponder why they're upset. The Palestinians since 1993 were the center of focus of attention of all the people from all around the globe because they claim they want peace with Israel. However, they never stop hurting Israel. Since we had a peace accord in 2000, when they had the Camp David Accord, they had bombarded, they had rioting, they had so much going on, and we are saying to them, Palestinian leadership needs to be united. There is no way that you guys going to cahoots, Hamas going to cahoots with Hezbollah, who is the proxy of Iran, and then come to the table and ask us to give them some humanitarian aid, help them through, let them work inside Israel, and then bombard us when people are signing a peace accord. We know that you feel neglected, but, this tantrum of a childhood tantrum cannot be subjecting the people and livelihood of Israel. And there is a man that is in charge, who is Benny Gantz, who had, if you remember, in 2014, he led that conflict, and there was a battle, and he was very precise and decisive. We don't want to hurt anybody. The IDF is the Israeli Defense Force, and we are not going to engage in military activity without any reasonable dangers to the state of Israel. And if anybody in the right state of mind think that burning thousands of acres in the south of Israel by flying balloons to Israel and then, asking us to be, conducive about their rights to be, we don't feel that terrorists have the right to be anywhere. There is no safe haven in the world for terrorists, and there is no safe haven for any terrorist activity. And Donald J. Trump, the president, the leader of the free world, the man of courage, honor, and incredible stamina, will tell you it right again and again. He doesn't tolerate anything like this that happened around Iraq, around Syria, around even Lebanon. Lebanon is right now under watch because Hezbollah is the one that is between Lebanon that will be in peaceful agreement with the region and be successful. People can invest in Lebanon if they won't get rid of Hezbollah. Now, if you think for a minute that Israeli at all, all fraction, we have demonstration against Bibi Netanyahu every week, and we have a claim that to say that he has no right and no, rights to even engage in kind of agreement, international agreement these days after he has so many claims against him. But we still united in one thing, the defense of the state of Israel. This is the state that was created to defend the Jewish people from any adversity that happens around the world. That's why the League of Nations gave Israel, or the Jewish people, this piece of land back. We are not claiming to have, mandatory rights because the United Kingdom, which was great then, and we recognize the king that gave the Balfour Declaration and made things happen. But we don't claim that it's only because we got this piece of land after the Second World War. We belong here because of the temple of King Solomon and the Second Temple. That now we have things to say about this incredible religious thing that we have. We have a state that is very free, very libertarian and democratic, by say, okay? People, women, men, all kind have the right to do whatever they want. Of course, not under the coronavirus, because in 2 days they're going to be closure everywhere because it's going out of whack. But they are going to also obstruct the freedom of worship, something that I have a problem with, because I think that the problem of the world is their stand with God. That's why when the people of the world claim that there is a climate problem, a climate change, it's like they are trying to play God. When you talk about climate, it means that you're not happy with the way God activates. That's why President Donald Trump doesn't agree upon that. It's not because of the concept he doesn't understand pollution and the green gas emergence. It's because he knows that the claim of climate change is bogus. So when I say to you all, please think about what you're doing in front of God. When you say to people of the world, don't go to pray, and we have the coronavirus that it came from, the world, from the incredible kingdom that we are living in, of this world, of amazing world that God created. And it came out of the blue. It will go out of the blue if we start aligning up with what is right. Now, what is right is coming before God. And if you try to obstacle that or stop us from doing this, it's like you're in the way. People don't realize that we have so much to work to understand still the globe, this incredible magical planet of ours, that we still pretend like the scientists know it all, the doctors and everything. And I talked about it before. When something is not known to you, it's higher authority. When something is not in your realm of understanding, it means that it's in different realm. Now, spiritual leaders all around the world will tell you that you have to come back to God, to line up with God. That's why when President Trump say there is no climate change issues, of course you cannot complain to God. When he says that it's going to cool down, it's not because he's oblivious to what's going on. It's because he knows God better than anybody that says else. People have to understand that we have this amazing God that work miracles all around. He turned the sun in the morning and turned the moon in the night. He gets the rain at the right time and the sun in the other time, the summers, all the season. What are you thinking? People that saying, oh, the enlightened one, they decided that they don't believe in God. And that's why we have such a big problem with the people of the Jewish faith that belongs to the Democratic Party. I want to ask them, and I want to talk to their hearts, what's saying, what God did to you that you are negating the Jewish state? Why a president like Donald Trump has only 30% of your vote? When he supports the Jewish state, it created a new peace deal that comes from nowhere. Of course, we worked together for many years, but to achieve it, to conclude it, needs to have immense power. You need to understand that love to God cannot be changed by a party. And for you guys to become against a man that helps so much the Jewish state, you are against us. And when you say you support Israel, only 2% or 4% support the state of Israel, I want to ask you, the Jewish people in America, who are you? What did you become of you? You left everything. Again, the same mistake of history. You're doing it again. You don't remember where you come from. You don't remember who is your God. You negated the God of Israel. And for what? There is no money there. There is no liberty there. There is no prosperity. It's only accumulation of rioting and obstruction of justice. Come back home. Come back to God, not just because you belong there. It's because he loves you and he misses you. Every son under this moon and sun, he belongs to him. Any creature. That's why I fight for every life of every child all around the world. We need you all to come to your senses and come back to understand that, you know, being the child of Israel, it's an honor, it's a duty, and it's incredible responsibility. Let's go to a break, and we'll be back after that.
The Tamar Yona Show.
Tamar? She's sassy.
She's smart.
She's funny.
But she's also a real Jewish mother.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tamar Yona. And yes, I can be all of those things. But at Israel News Talk Radio, I'm here to bring you the news stories and guests that you may not hear anywhere else. Join me live on air Sundays, Mondays, and Tuesdays for the most unique and bold talk radio in Israel.
The Tamar Yona Show.
The return of the Jewish people to the land of Israel was prophesied in the Bible thousands of years ago and is coming true today. Shalom. Join me, Josh Wander, on Israel Unplugged. Listen in as we delve into the spiritual and physical aspects of the Jewish return to Zion. We'll discuss the biblically mandated, historic, and of course practical understandings of this incredible transition from exile to redemption. That's Israel Unplugged, every Monday on IsraelNewsTalkRadio.com.
Psalm 23, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Did you know this psalm and many others were composed by a Jewish shepherd and musician who later became a king? Would you like to know some of the inner meanings of psalms to help you connect with God and strengthen your soul? An exciting and easy-to-read book is now available which will help you do just that. Software for the Soul, Psalms for Everyone, available on Kindle, Audible, and Amazon.com. Software for the Soul.
Modesty at the beach? It isn't just about body image. It's about feeling good. Modest swimsuits, so we don't get burned by the sun.
So we won't get ogled by strangers.
So we'll feel free to express ourselves without the need to expose ourselves.
Let Marcy Modest help you to cover up what you want, how you want.
Made in Israel.
Visit marcymodest.com. That's MARSEA modest.com.
And get a 10% discount on your first purchase.
We are back. It's Orly, Benny Davis, and this is From Jerusalem with Love. You know, we start a new year, and with this new year, we have so much to look back. And one format that we have to recognize is that we all depend on internet commerce these days. Corona and all the rest created a situation where we are online all the time. We buy online, we depend on the shipment, and we sometimes we get into little things that says we have not the consent of the sellers. We have some litigation to fight. People don't understand that when you go online and you buy, you never know who is the other side who buy you. So I wanted to invite an incredible lawyer, a man that he just joined the Rosenblum Formular law firm, and he is a legal counsel to Amazon seller. Neil, welcome to the show. I barely can hear him, so I want to introduce Neil Flynn. If you can hear me, that would be great. We have commerce department that works constantly on show, and sometimes Amazon that becomes one of the biggest sellers online. I have a lot of trials attorneys that works together and make sure that we have a situation where we can solve, and we need a great lawyer for that. Neil, are you on? Okay, I barely can, I cannot hear him. I really want to talk to him. He's an incredible lawyer, Lynn Flynn, and he's fantastic. And it's important for me to hear him in order for me to do so. The story starts with how many times people get all around the world lawsuits and how they can handle them, especially when we don't have a clear mind of what's happening on the international level, because jurisdiction is something we have. So Neil Flynn, are you on today with us?
I'm here, Orly. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so happy to have you. You know, it's such an incredible story that you have. You are a part of the legal counsel to Amazon sellers, something that the Amazon seller need to be defended, and you have an incredible article on that I just saw that talks how incredible of a lawyer you are. And as talking to you, I know you are. So tell me, what do you represent as far as the Amazon sellers goes?
Well, thank you for those kind words. It's very nice of you. I appreciate that. Amazon sellers have a maze of obstacles to deal with. From the smallest to the largest seller on the site, they have to contend with Amazon's regulations and rules, which are voluminous and often change, as well as competition, both legitimate and malicious. They also have to deal, of course, with the responsibilities of every other business owner, from staffing to stocking to shipping to meeting customer requirements and complaints. And all of that is amplified by the involvement of Amazon and their rules of engagement, as it were, for every seller. And we've recently seen some significant changes in Amazon's position regarding some of those requirements.
Okay, tell us about them. What kind of requirement Amazon has?
One of the biggest issues we've been facing, especially one that would be of interest to your listeners in Israel and anywhere outside the United States, is that when lawsuits are filed in the United States against Amazon sellers, several federal courts have been very, very lenient with the plaintiffs who are filing those lawsuits. And they give them the opportunity to serve the documents that would normally have to be served pursuant to the Hague Convention, or literally handed to someone related to the business who is being sued. Instead of requiring those rules to be enforced with regard to international Amazon sellers, the courts have given plaintiffs the opportunity to serve these documents by email, which is extremely unusual in American jurisprudence, in the judicial process, to start a lawsuit that can potentially wipe out a business with nothing more than a single email.
Exactly. This is amazing because we don't know about jurisdiction.
Related to the idea that Amazon sellers from outside the United States are essentially unreachable through regular channels, and that they wouldn't succumb or agree to jurisdiction by American courts if the plaintiffs were required to follow the normal regulations and routine for starting a lawsuit. Now, this is compounded by the fact that just about every lawsuit that's started against an Amazon seller, especially those outside the United States, includes an application for what's called a temporary restraining order. And that order orders the individual seller to refrain from selling any of the products in question. And when it's served on Amazon, Amazon automatically shuts down that seller's storefront. And to make things even worse, Amazon will retain any money that is in the Amazon account and freeze access to it, as well as access to the goods that are in Amazon's possession. And as you may know, and many of your listeners who are involved in this, of course, know, Amazon Fulfillment by Amazon is the primary way that most of these sellers do business. They send Amazon sufficient supply of their goods to allow them to be fulfilled and shipped by Amazon so that customers can take advantage of Amazon's vast shipping network and their 2-day Prime guarantee. Now, some cases, it's a 1-day guarantee. And that's an extremely attractive opportunity for sellers to take advantage of, but it puts them at Amazon's mercy because Amazon retains possession of those goods. And Amazon, especially for the smaller, newer businesses, Amazon restricts the timing and the release of the funds from Amazon to the seller. So there can be a buildup of tens of thousands of dollars in Amazon's accounts that will be frozen if the court issues these temporary restraining orders.
And we don't know if it's a frivolous claim even, he doesn't have the time. It's over the internet, they do it and that's it. The court make this judgment and the seller has nothing to do. He has to go through the process of the court now. And there you come.
Oh, exactly right. And it's routinely especially dealing with American companies and these types of lawsuits between domestic corporations here in the United States, the courts are much more reluctant to issue temporary restraining orders because they're already, at that point, punishing the defendant who hasn't even had a chance to appear and has no idea that they're being sued until they get served with this order, essentially shutting down their business. So
unbelievable. Now, Neil, we have less than 3 minutes to go.
AmazonSellersLawyer.com in a panic. They have no idea what to do. Their money is frozen. Sometimes that money represents the bulk of their cash. Their revenues are frozen. They can't continue to sell the product that's been frozen. And if they continue to sell any other products, all the revenue from those sales also gets frozen. So the amount in Amazon's possession actually grows during the pendency of the temporary restraining order. And those orders require very fast action to respond to. Almost none of your listeners' businesses are going to be familiar with the process. They have to contact a lawyer here in America. Luckily, we're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week through our website. Right. At any time, AmazonSellersLawyer.com. You can reach us, and we can help you with this. Whether you retain us or not, we'll be glad to discuss the situation with a seller and make them aware of the situation and their options. But the key is not to ignore these notifications. And they have to act quickly because that temporary restraining order can very quickly become what's called a preliminary injunction. The temporary restraining order only lasts for 14 days. And the plaintiff can go back to the court and ask for an extension of time, but it's only in 2-week increments, only for a fortnight at a time. However, if they go back to the court and they request that the temporary restraining order be converted into a preliminary injunction, that means that the order will stay in place, preventing the seller from doing business on Amazon for the life of the lawsuit until it is resolved, and that can be catastrophic.
Unbelievable. Neil, we run out of time. I want everybody to understand that Amazon sellers have the right to call upon Neil Flynn. Find him online. He's an incredible lawyer. You need help. You got help. You're not alone, and they will never leave you alone on this matter. Neil, thank you so much. I'm so sorry we didn't have time, but we ran out of time. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We do it again soon.
Thank you for having us, and I'd be glad to, Orly. Be well. God bless.
All right. God bless. Take care. Thank you. We're going to go to a break, and we'll be back after this.
In a time where feelings have become fact, where rational thought and common sense has disappeared, one man stands above it all.
I'm Howie Sobiker, your political hitman.
Political Hitman airs every Tuesday at 11:59 p.m. North American time, 7 a.m. Israeli time, only on Israel News Talk Radio.
Are you interested in transforming your life, drawing closer to the Creator, and uncovering the deeper meanings and hidden treasures in the Hebrew Bible?
Then join me, Rav Yitzhak Michelson,
and me, William Hall,
on the Science of Kabbalah, where we are seeking to narrow the gap between what we understand of our physical and spiritual worlds. So make sure to tune in every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Israel time, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, here on Israel News Talk Radio.
And we are back. It's Orly Benny Davis, and this is from Jerusalem with Love. I'm so sorry you didn't have more time with Neil Flynn. He's amazing. You know, when I know lawyers for many years because I do politics for over, I don't want to tell you how long. So most of them are lawyers, and some of them are good, but there are some great ones. And when you get a good lawyer that speaks so clearly and explain to you and know exactly the edges, you can hang to them and get help. And that's why I wanted you to know about this Amazon seller company that says defend you. Because if you sell something online and all of a sudden they close the door, they close your account, and that's it. Yeah, and you have to deal with a court, and you don't know where you are. You know, you're all over the world. You have no knowledge how to handle the American courts, and before you know it, they freeze the money, and until you settle it through the court, they don't gonna release it. So don't be afraid. There is God's always help you. So just remember, the Amazon seller have lawyers that. Can help them, and you can find them online. They're Rosenbaum Famularo. It's Famularo. Yeah, it sounds Italian. But Neil Flynn, you just put in and you'll find them. Anyway, we're about to conclude the show. So let's start with, this is a new year for the Jewish people. This is the time where we are counting all our blessing and all the misdeed that we did. This is not like we're partying in the 31st of December in America or in the world. It's not that kind of a year. This is a year that, this is the new year that we repent. We come before God and we ask forgiveness. Now, Rosh Hashanah is the year that the head of the year. It's the Rosh head. Hashanah is, that's why we say Shana Tova. And we say to all, Happy New Year. Make a deal with God to be redeemed. And being redeemed is being good. God gave us the Bible and the Torah of Moses, the incredible messenger that God sent before the people of Israel. Many people forget to mention him again and again, and they talk about all those messengers. I can't even imagine what a great leader Moses was. Moses led the people of Israel through the desert, and trust me, the people of Israel are difficult. Very difficult, stubborn, he called them. And God even wanted to wipe them all out and say, let me give you new people, I'll handle them. And Moses said, no. He fought for the Jewish people. He said, no, you cannot do that. Now, the law of Moses gives you the blueprint to come before God. And he always says, come and decide if you want to be in the light or if you want to be in the darkness. If you want to do blessing or else. Now, you decide what your life is going to be. It's your deed, because you call it karma, you call it all the other names. It comes around and it will hunt you. And for us, it's a restart. Every year, it's a restart. You start again, and you hope to be to accomplish like a good deeds. And that's why when you have the opportunity to help immediately. Don't hesitate. This is like a bucket of blessing that you give yourself every time that you do some good thing. At the time of need, you will find it. That's why we say what goes around comes around. Yes, it definitely is. And when they say, send your bread upon water, because might be that one of those days you'll find it, you will find it. That money that you give or you gave somebody in the past, you didn't even care. You said just, okay, take it. You might find it in a time of need. Now, you guys remember, in the time of need, when you are always recognizing that this struggle is in existence, the only way to get out and unlock that is to share whatever you have, because that's when you count your blessing and you say, I'm good enough, I can share no matter what. And once you do that, you put your trust in God. That's where God comes to play. When you depend on God, that's where the universe always have to repay you back. The universe cannot owe you anything. It always has to compensate. If you do something, it needs to give you back. It's always giving back. So you remember. But the same thing on the other side. If you do injustice, and look at the world now, it's all corona. It's like we all in the same boat. It means that something is changing. The energy is changing. The global understanding is changing. We are not going to be on the same page after the corona. Many people will lose their life, but this is like from coming from God. I cannot help by saying to you all, there is nothing we can do. I can only say, pray hard, and make peace. And United Arab Emirates, they understood, the Holy Land, God's land. The Abraham agreement is the children of Abraham. Abraham, the father, the patriarch of all nations, is the father of all of us. Is the one that, it's like an umbrella. We are all under an Abraham agreement. That's why it's so brilliant to say it, because the fight between the people of the Jewish people and the Muslim world, the Arab world, let's say, we started, with after Abraham's son Ismail and Isaac were born, and they were fighting, and they sent Ismail away. Abraham sent Ismail away, and then they started drift. And they had also Isaac, had children of Jacob and Esau. So we all started it long ago. And what the agreement says, Abraham agreement says, we are coming back to Abraham. We're all the children of the same patriarch, and we all belong together. Let's make peace. Once you do that, in the midst, you understand what God wanted us to do, to recognize that we all belong together, that we are one united force before Him. You can solve it. Now, why should you trust what I say? It's because you tried everything else and it doesn't work. Just try praying. And if they close the synagogue or they limit the synagogue this time, pray hard. Maybe the children that are, a very bad shape these days, that they don't show us such a fortitude. We have a lot of children that are incredible, extremely talented, and they study hard, and we love them, and we're honored by having them. And they're the ones that run around like crazy and looking for themselves. Maybe closing us down is to show us that under your roof, under your own house, is where you have to take care of business. Maybe this is like we went too far out. Mother, father, uncles, whoever, maybe you need to take care of business at home. So no matter what, I want to wish you all Happy New Jewish year. Shana Tova and Gmar Chatima Tova. May God inscribe you in the book of life for goodness, for happiness, for joy, for good health, for a lot of wonderful, wonderful stories to tell. This is the start of a new year of peace, and may we have peace. The Palestinian will come. You are our brothers after all. And Lebanon, may you have some rest because you deserve it. And Syria, maybe you can rebuild a new life too. This is our neighbors, and we want to join forces. And yes, Jordan, you need to concede Temple Mount because we need to build the house, the unique house for the God of Israel, the house that will encompass all religion, encompass all people that will come before God under God of Israel. It's whoever respect the Sabbath, whoever come and respect the law of the Bibles, the law of Moses, will come before him in the house of God. And since we are all the children of Abraham, might be a good time to understand that the holding up on the Holy of Holy is not going to do you good for a long time. If God wants action, he will get it. And if he needs to rebuild it, it will be rebuilt. No matter what they say, no matter if they stop us. And, we all want a day of, renewal. So Happy New Year. Bless you all from wherever you are. Thank you all for listening. I had a blessed year just being with you this year. Thank God for this. And thank you, Israel News Talk Radio, and Tamar and Kalman. Thank you all for helping out, making this show happening from Jerusalem with love. Will not be happening just for the grace of them. So thank you all, and say I'm sorry to all that I offended. Please forgive me. I'm here. I love you. I hope for you all the best. Just go get them. Be strong. Be happy, but walk with God. All the best. Ciao, ciao. Shana Tova.
Where can you get the inside news on Israel? At Israel News Talk Radio, we're dedicated to sharing Israel's inside story with the world by providing our listeners with news on Israeli politics, current affairs, and Israeli Jewish culture. The Israel News Talk Radio homepage also provides you, the listener, with useful information at your fingertips, with scrolling news headlines, weather, currency exchange, Shabbat candlelighting times, and so much more. Our radio programming is always accessible and on demand. We operate absolutely free of charge for everyone, everywhere. If you love what we do, partner with us now by becoming an Israel News Talk Radio supporter. With your support, you'll be inscribed on our Israel News Talk Radio Wall of Fame. There's nothing like us in the world. Be part of something great. Israel News Talk Radio. Straight talk from Israel.
Howdy, this is Rita from League City, Texas, now living in Israel. And though my heart may have belonged to Texas, it now belongs to Israel and all the fantastic show hosts at Israel News Talk Radio.
Hi, this is Michael Solomon from Kiryat Arba, Israel. And why do I love listening to Israel News Talk Radio? Because I love listening to the interesting interviews they do and their news reporting that most other media sources don't cover.
Hey, this is Nicoleko from Malmö, Sweden. It gets pretty cold here in Sweden, so I love cuddling up with a warm cup of tea while I listen to Israel News Talk Radio.
Hey everybody, this is Frank Morris from Tennessee. Me and my dog Buster really love listening to Israel News Talk Radio.
You're listening to Israel News Talk Radio.
News, opinion, and more. You're listening to Israel News Talk Radio.